What's up, Overwatch fans? We are live in Los Angeles to close out the first week of Stage 2 in the 2019 Overwatch League season. Today, 8 more teams will fight it out on our Blizzard Arena stage. The San Francisco Shock are in the building, and the Shock looks stronger than ever after a deep Stage 1 playoff run and a 4-0 sweep of the Valiant to begin Stage 2. Today, they'll face off against the Guangzhou Charge Squad, hoping to bounce back from a 4-0 loss to Paris earlier this week. Guangzhou is starting to slip to the bottom of our pack in the standings, and we'll see if they can charge back today. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Watchpoint pre-show presented by State Farm. I'm your host, Chris Puckett, and I've got our expert analyst here. We've got Brent Sideshow and Hex filling in once again, our special guest analyst. How you doing, bud?
Just trying to bring, some level of talent to the desk.
All right. Hey!
Whoa!
All right.
I did say I was succeeding.
Already.
Trying.
That's how we're starting our Sunday. Josh, I know it's a very special Sunday for you.
It certainly is. I'd like to lead us all in a little piece as well.
Yes.
Our Father, who rolls in heaven, amen be thy name. Goats may come, they will be shattered, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily cheese, and deliver us from mayhem. What the hell is the rest of it?
You guys can put it in the chat. Just get that copy pasta going.
You guys know how it goes.
You know how it goes. All right, we're going to start this week off strong, and we're going to finish even stronger here today as we close out the first week in Stage 2. The Vancouver Titans, our beloved bad boys, and Danny Lim hung out with the Stage 1 champs in downtown LA to find out how they became the league's toughest team. Plus, the London Spitfire started Stage 2 off right the other night. Jester and Prophet tell us why one championship isn't enough for London. And the beginning of Stage 2 has been truly wild. We'll check out the best moments in emote control. When the Stars take the stage, you'll see the Shock battle the Guangzhou Charge. The Atlanta Reign will take on London, and Washington will face Chengdu. Our stage champions will also take their Stage 2 debut. The Vancouver Titans haven't lost a match yet at all. They're currently sitting at 10-0, counting the stage playoffs. They'll face a Guangzhou Spark team today that's making their first appearance in Stage 2 as well. So, Hex, let's talk about the expectations for the champs coming in. What do you expect to see from Vancouver when they match up against the Spark?
Well, we've seen a lot of really interesting compositions in the last couple of days, and everything's kind of changing up. I expect Vancouver to just run 3-3 until someone proves they can beat it. When you're dominant with one form of meta, why not keep running it until someone, anybody in the Overwatch League proves they could actually beat you on 3-3. Now, maybe some teams are going to try to maybe throw a little bit of DPS at them and whatever, but I think if you're Vancouver, your game plan is, let's go with what got us here, let's stick with it. If we start losing, then we'll make adjustments.
Brent, on the other side, let's talk about the Spark. They entered the match today at 3-4. What are the chances they get back to 500?
I think it's actually highly likely, and there's one man in particular who's going to be helping make that happen, and that's Gushui. This dude is phenomenal, to say the least. He is an absolutely ridiculous Winston player. His Reinhardt needs a little bit of work. I mean, I'd probably say it's on the average side when it comes to leagues, but his Winston is really what put him on everyone's radar. As well, going back to the Overwatch World Cup, when he was playing for Team China, came into the finals there with these guys. He is a ridiculous player. His Primal Rages, I've never seen a player who's more mechanically skilled, I think.
Yeah, they are
ridiculous. His control is unlike anything we've really seen in the Overwatch League in quite some time. So him now on Winston, where he's a little bit stronger with the new patch, I'm expecting very big things.
I think once the Spark are going to be very disappointed with how things went in Stage 1, especially because they were so hyped up at the beginning. But coming into Stage 2, we had a chance to talk to some of the other players as well. And as Big Goose told us on the Watchpoint post show a couple of days ago, everybody still really respects them.
But like, if we were to think that teams that didn't do as well last stage but will do better, I think Spark. We learned a lot from Spark, like practicing this few weeks. So I think Spark is going to show up this stage.
Something that everybody was saying in Stage 1 as well. Everyone was saying that the Spark were going to be a great team. And I think that's because coming into Stage 1, people thought that more DPS stuff was going to be run. And then it ended up just being triple tank, triple support. So now that we're finally in a meta where Spark really understand how to play, we could see the true potential of this team.
Looking forward to it. We'll see if the Stage 1 champs can keep it rolling today. Another team that's rolling is the team Vancouver beat in the Stage 1 finals. That's the San Francisco Shock. They smashed the Valiant in their first match after that 7-map loss to the Titans. They'll square off with Guangzhou Charge team today, who's looking to erase the bad loss they suffered at the hands of Paris on Thursday. So, Sideshow, let's talk about the Charge here. Why did they look outmatched against the Eternal?
I think it comes down to preparation, honestly. I think this team, looks like they haven't really figured out what the meta is. All of the pieces there individually, they should have a decent roster for this meta, but they kind of fell to pieces against the Paris Eternal. They didn't look particularly comfortable or very well prepared with what they wanted to run. So I think that's what it comes down to. You see teams like Paris, like Chengdu, like the obviously NYXL and Titans and Shock. They know what they're going to run in every single scenario, and they're super well prepared for it. So I think the Charge have still got some time, but they will improve.
For the Shock, it looked like new meta, no problem on Friday night. So how is San Francisco continuing to improve here in Stage 2, Hex?
They're already such a solid team at their base. They got the tanks, they've got the supports and everything. But one of the X factors is going to be Rascal, and how he played on the Batiste was really impressive. He's always been known as a guy who can pick up new heroes very quickly. Big brain on Rascal, and it's really nice to have a Batiste who's very good at DPS and can actually aim in this. I think he understands the hero and the kit better than anybody else does right now. He's right-clicking and left-clicking, putting out fire, putting out healing at the same time, whereas a lot of people who've been playing have been focused on one or the other. I think Rascal's found that great balance, and he's been a joy to watch in that Batiste.
For me, again, looking at the big picture for San Francisco Shock here, Josh, the other day, you had your hot take where you said New York Excelsior were going to go undefeated in their stage 2.
Yeah.
I think the Shock are highly likely also to go undefeated if they beat the Charge today. They go back-to-back games against them. If they figure them out today, they should have a better chance as well in the next day, theoretically. And then the rest of the games, again, they're kind of middle-of-the-pack teams. Very beatable, and there is a very good chance here that we may see, you know, honestly, multiple teams undefeated. That's a bit of a hot take, but I think Shock can be one of them. And I think New York alongside them, obviously, there's a very good chance of that happening. But Shock, they're looking, you know, they got like a pretty tasty schedule ahead of them.
It could happen. Not the toughest road, but it could happen. The Shock seem to be a contender for the season playoffs, but only one team has ever won a grand final. That's right, it's the London Spitfire, and we sat down with Gesture and Prophet to see how the champs plan to climb back onto their throne here in Stage 2. It's the Watchpoint pre-show, presented by State Farm. The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile. High ground or low ground, T-Mobile has you covered.
London Spitfire, our former champions of the 2018 Overwatch League season, will miss out on Stage 1 playoffs.
The London Spitfires have got to be wondering what has happened.
저희가 스테이지 1을 할 때 못한 건 못한 거지만 나중에 지금 스테이지 2로 와보니까 저희가 생각보다 작은 건데 놓친 부분들이 크게 작용했던 게 많더라고요. 지금은 저희가 스테이지 1에 비하면 많이 나아졌다 생각하고 팀적으로 좀 더 콜을 많이 하면서 팀플레이를 좀 더 잘하려고 많이 연습했어요.
스테이지 1 때 아쉽긴 한데 그때 포지션이 좀 안 맞긴 해서 근데 스테이지 2에서는 이제 포지션 맞추고 잘하고 있어서 괜찮은 것 같아요.
The London Spitfire take the series away. That's the dominance we saw last year.
저희 런던이 시즌 1 챔피언이긴 한데 우리는 챔피언이니까 뭐 안 해도 그냥 잘할 거야 이런 건 아니고 우리가 좀 못하는 시기가 와도 우리 잘했을 때 있으니까 좀 더 열심히 해서 그때처럼 만들어보자 이런 생각도 하고 그리고 챔피언에 대한 자부심이 있을 수밖에 없는 게 시즌 1 챔피언은 저희잖아요. 안 없어지는 거니까 좋게 기억하고 있습니다.
아, 근데 형이 말을 다 해보니까 내가 할 게 없다.
The shift from Reinhardt back towards Winston should definitely suit the Spitfire well. Jester seems much more comfortable on the Monkey, and as you can see, his Winston ranks are higher in almost every major category, and he leads the league in final blows and fewest deaths. Jester and the Spitfire will battle the Atlanta Reign today. Atlanta was on the wrong end of a reverse sweep against Boston on Thursday, while London outlasted a Florida Mayhem squad who many thought that they should have beaten handily. So let's talk about the Spitfire. Why did they struggle with Florida on Friday, Brent?
There's a lot of sloppy play for them. I think looking at this team in particular, the one change they made from stage 1 success to stage 2 now has been Birdring being reintroduced into the lineup now. And he's a phenomenal damage dealer, right? He is a fantastic DPS player. But when he has to flex back over to the Brigitte, that's where stuff starts to go wrong for them, because they have to play the triple tank, triple support in these mirror matches alongside the DPS comps, and he's just not as comfortable. It's evident from just the eye test. You can see it in their gameplay. They don't play as clean. Their teamwork's a little bit all over the place. And it's just not quite the London that we expect to see from them, especially against a team like Florida Mayhem, who have been underperforming so much so far this season.
I'd really like to see them crush their competition. We were discussing this about the San Francisco Shock before. Something we love about those guys is that when they play against other teams, they just mince them. But London don't do that. They don't just destroy their opposition. They actually play really close games against everybody. It seems like even the top teams, they can go close with them. Here you're looking at their season so far, and they've had a super close game against the Justice, a relatively close game against Mayhem, some close games against a bunch of other teams that were at various levels. You know, win over the Gladiators last stage was nothing to sniff at as well.
Yep.
They've had some good wins, but they've also looked really quite bad at times as well. And so you never know exactly what you're going to get, but you can always predict that London are going to look a little shaky, even when they're at their best. And this isn't what we saw from them last season.
Start stacking up some 4-0s. That's what we want to see from this London squad. On the other side, we have the Atlanta Reign, who have become favorites in the community, but fans don't necessarily win you games, do they, Hex?
No, if fans win you games, the Dallas Cowboys would be a good team.
Oh! Still better than
What
Philly.
wins you games in the Overwatch League is actually consistency, and that's the big troubling thing with Atlanta. Is I don't know which Atlanta we're going to see day to day, and I think part of that is because there's such an emotion-based team. Even with DeFran gone, you've got a guy like Dogman tweeting after the match, calling his team bad, saying we played terribly, and that kind of stuff can really start from the beginning of a match. You lose map 1 and it starts going off the rails. I actually wouldn't mind maybe suggesting swapping out Dogman, bringing in a more tempered player like Kodak, so that way you're just at least have more consistent performance, not based on the ebbs and flows of how the match is going any particular day.
Fans love Atlanta, but they may be leaning towards a new team after yesterday's performance by Chengdu. That's right. The Hunters will play a Washington Justice team that's still looking for a boost from their new main support in Arc. Chengdu put on a stunning 4-0 performance against Paris last night, moving them to 4-4 overall. And you guys were all glowing on the post-show last night about how good this Hunters team is. So, Bren, has your love for Among subsided at all overnight? No?
You're having a laugh. This guy.
You doubt
Roll
my
tape.
faith?
Roll the tape. Look at him. Look at this unit of a man right here. He's got the jawline. He's got the skills. He's got the panda on his jersey. Let me give you a little history lesson in the genetics of bears. Panda bears in particular. They evolved from bears. These guys were predators. Panda bears, not so much. They kind of just sit around and eat bamboo. I actually think they're trying to evolve themselves out of existence. But bears themselves are fantastic predators. I feel like Eamon really kind of embodies the real spirit of just bears in general. In his ability to kill. Okay, so the match is Chengdu Justice. You really want me to talk analytics with this?
Okay. I'll give you some highlight though, because when they were playing against Paris last night, he had a fantastic point where he was just destroying them on Wrecking Ball, actually going really aggressive into their spawn. And it's this kind of stuff that we had Cruz on the post show afterwards. He was saying, how do you prep against this? No other team plays like this. It's the first time in the history of Overwatch I have ever seen a team hold this close.
He was smurfing in gold.
It is ridiculous, isn't it? And it's not like Paris are terrible, but they were thrown off guard completely by what Chengdu were doing and didn't really have a response to it. And so, I mean, how do you deal with that? The guy is so good and he causes so much chaos.
Hex, on a 1 to 10 scale, where would you rank your confidence in Washington's ability to handle Chengdu today?
Do we have to start at 1? Very low. I don't think Washington really has a chance against Chengdu. And I guess they have some confidence from up top, at least. Their general manager seems to believe that they were getting some wins against teams. This is a tweet we got from Justice Kate Mitchell here. Wild that Mayhem thought that building a mixed roster was too hard when they've lost to every other mixed roster in the league. My response to this is one word. Really? Really? You're 1-7. You're throwing this shade like this? There's an adage people in glass houses should not throw stones. Maybe try to get your roster actually communicated and working well together before you start sniping at other people here. Corey's off on his own island, actually plays well when he's off on his own island, doesn't have to speak to the rest of his team. But is it really time to start throwing shade on the rest of the league when you're 1-7?
Check your facts as well. Philadelphia's a mixed team, 4 to beat them stage 1. Anyway, it's tough to become the best team in the Overwatch League, but it's even tougher to do it with as much style as the Vancouver Titans have. Danny Lim hung out with Overwatch's coolest cats in downtown LA for our most entertaining interview of the season so far. That's next on Watchpoint. The Overwatch League is powered by Intel. Game, record, stream without compromise on Intel Core i7. And by Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League.
The Vancouver Titans have taken the Overwatch League by storm. As an expansion team, they have dominated their competition on the way to an undefeated Stage 1, and this has left the team overflowing with confidence. I caught up with the Titans earlier this week to discuss their epic victory over the Shock in Stage 1 finals, and just how they came to be known as the bad boys of the Overwatch League.
The Vancouver Titans, your Stage 1 champions.
Now that Stage 1 is over, and you guys are kind of known in the Overwatch League scene as the bad boys. Do you guys approve of that? Do you guys think like you guys are like the bad boys of Overwatch League?
저희야 뭐 꿀릴 게 없기 때문에 항상 상남자가 상남자 스타일로 가고 있죠.
알겠습니다.
저는 범펑이 팀장이기 때문에 저희도 상남자 스타일로 밀어붙이고 있어요.
재미도 있긴 하지만 그만큼 자신이 있으니까.
인성이 나쁘네.
응? 인성이 나쁘다고? 네가 제일 나빠.
It's an epic match. Huge statement win for the Titans.
Can you guys kind of walk us through on just that whole experience on the final matchup against San Francisco Shock?
초반에 저희가 이길 거라고 생각했던 맵들을 한두 번 져서 3대1 정도 스코어 갔을 때 진짜 지나 싶었는데 그래도 이제 저희 템포 잡고 이제 저희 흐름으로 넘어온 것 같아서 하다 보니까
저는 그냥 로얄로더 그걸 너무 하고 싶어서 멘탈 나갈 것 같길래 멘탈 잡아주고 네, 그렇게 한 것 같아요.
좀 구체적으로 좀 설명해 주세요. 어떻게 멘탈을 어떻게 잡으셨나요?
아니 범퍼 형이 죽을라 하길래
진짜?
하면서 죽을라 하길래 계속 제가
보면서 이거 확실히 맞나요? 좀 이렇게 많이 힘들어하셨나요?
아니요.
아니에요?
제가 원래 또 집중을 하면은 말이 없어지기 때문에 그런 표정이 나왔을 수도 있어요. 근데 전혀 힘든 건 없었는데.
That's the first pick, and now the rest would follow. Bumpy hits a huge shatter.
아무래도 런어웨이 때부터 숙소 생활을 하셨잖아요. 2달 동안 있으면서 제일 기억에 남는 순간이 있다면?
숙소에 큰 벌레가 들어와서
벌레?
범퍼 형이 도망 다녔던
이러면서 아유 저 소리 지르면서 막 계단 타고 내려오길래 웃으면서 소리 질러 웃으면서.
근데 진짜 벌레가 요만해.
놀랐겠어.
근데 장난치고 팅커벨을 봤어요. 팅커벨. 진짜 이따만 해가지고.
벌레가 아니고 팅커벨인 줄
진짜
알았어?
팅커벨이었어요.
How about on stage? Like, what's the most memorable moment for you guys on stage?
그 결승전 때 딱 들어가기 전에 그 자리에 셋 띄워놓거든요. 근데 제가 그 계속 떨어져 있고 시안트라가 다 위인 거예요. 위. 끝나고 봤더니 제가 위여가지고 봐봐 내가 위잖아요.
범퍼 선수.
준결승 때는 피자 선수와 저의 그 라이너드 스탯이 딱 뜨더라고요. 근데 피자 선수는 막 2등 몇 등 이렇게 뜨는데 저는 1111 이렇게 뜨는데 근데 저는 그때부터 피자 선수보다 제가 더 잘한 걸 항상 매일마다 느꼈어요.
If there's something that you guys learned from stage 1 that you guys could implement it into stage 2, what would it be?
아무래도 저희가 리그 최초로 전승 우승을 했잖아요.
그죠?
그래서 뭐 스테이지 1에서 배운 거는 다른 팀한테 질 자신이 없는 것 같아요.
계속 끝까지 이번 시즌 계속 끝까지 이 이미지로 가실 거죠? 나중에 빼면 안 돼? 나중에 바꾸면 안 돼? 아, 약속.
저 바꾸는 걸 모르기 때문에.
아 큰일 났다.
좋아.
Time now for the most fun moments of the week. It's a Remote Control presented by State Farm. Florida versus Philly. The Mayhem are in overtime, but the fight is won. All they have to do is stay on the cart, but Zephyr wasn't into that plan. It's the classic C9 from Florida here, but the Fusion Boombox was happy to take credit for it all.
I'm gonna have Valk now.
Yeah.
And we fight. Oh! I guess.
I forced it, guys.
Nice boombox.
It was all me.
What do we got, guys?
I forced it, guys.
I'm looking at the other side of it as foreman of the salt mines. I know how that feels when your team walks off the cart.
I mean, that's just funny to me. Again, every time a team just forgets to play the objective.
That's one of the worst we've seen. That
No,
really
it's not.
was
I think the
terrible.
Youngjin one is.
It was pretty rough.
Probably
no
worse.
game 5 for Florida. All right, let's keep it moving. It's tough being on camera for an entire match. Youngjin didn't do it. Don't do it. Don't. Did he? Hold. Show some restraint.
What sign do I use?
You got it.
No.
It never happened. It never happened for the record. What do you got?
This has to be unicorn.
I found it.
I hate to associate our beloved friend Golden Boy, the national treasure himself.
This one's for you, Golden Boy. All right, the last one, of course, is what I call watering the lawn with a lightsaber. Yeah.
This is going to be the next hip dance.
That's our buddy Kevin with the maracas. Yeah, rocking the mic. That's how we do it here in the Overwatch League. I get nothing but potatoes.
Potatoes all around.
I pray that is the last time we show that.
I'm showing you that later, Hex, after the show for sure. All right, family, we are less than 10 minutes from Super and Sinatra leading the San Francisco Shock onto the Blizzard Arena stage to face Guangzhou. We've got our match predictions coming up right after it. It's the Watchpoint pre-show. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Coca-Cola is the official refreshment of the Overwatch League. Shock fans, here's a look at your team setting up on the stage. Moth and crew ready to improve to 6-3 if they can pull off a big win today over the Guangzhou Charge. On the other side of the stage, we have Guangzhou getting set up. You can see the boys ready to go up against the runners-up from stage 1. Can they pull off the upset and climb the standings? We'll find out in just a few moments. Here are your official analyst predictions for today's matches. It looks like all three guys like the Shock over Guangzhou and Chengdu over Washington. Brent is on his own with Atlanta over London, and Hex is taking the Spark to hand Vancouver their first loss. Hex, I gotta hear why. Sideshow versus Hex, 30 seconds, let's go.
I think yours is self-explanatory, so I'm gonna take a lot of this time. Obviously, Vancouver's unbeaten, but I really like this team, and I think now it's time to not play 3-3. It's start picking up full-out Clown Fiesta, Godspeed, you got Bazzi. It's gonna be time to hit some heads and make Vancouver play something that's not 3-3.
80% map win rate in stage 1, undefeated, incredible teamwork, fantastic players.
Here's my rebuttal.
#1 in the stats.
My
haven't
rebuttal.
been beaten.
Bang, bang. That's all you're going to see today.
Nobody has ever killed a Sasquatch with a gun before.
Titans trying to stay undefeated. We're 15 seconds out. Bren, real quick, give me a player to watch from both teams, Shock and Charge.
Oh, Sinatra and Happy.
You did it! Bren did it! Ladies and gentlemen, let's cheer along with Bren in the chat. That's going to do it for us here on the Watchpoint pre-show. Stay tuned. We got 4 matches coming your way. This, again, presented by State Farm. Enjoy the games, guys.